Welcome back to Myths and Mayhem, the show where gods have the emotional maturity of middle schoolers, monsters have terrible public relations, and every family tree eventually becomes a crime scene. Today, we're taking a pause on Perseus really quick. I know the hero's coming, the sword is coming, the shield is coming, the adventure is coming, those flying sandals are coming. But before we get there, we need to talk about Medusa, because if we're going to tell the story of Perseus slaying Medusa, we should probably figure out who Medusa actually is. And trust me, the answer is way more complicated than Snake Lady, very dangerous, do not make eye contact. That's basically the ancient Greek equivalent of reading the entire headline and then skipping the article. So today, we're going to look at Medusa before Perseus, before the quest, before the decapitation, before every art museum in the world decided she needed to be on at least one shield. Let's start with Medusa's family. Now, if you've listened to previous episodes, you've probably noticed a pattern. Nobody in Greek mythology has normal relatives. Nobody. You're either related to a titan, a monster, a sea god, a person who transformed into a tree, or Zeus. Usually Zeus. And unfortunately for everyone involved, Medusa's family tree looks something like a conspiracy theorist would draw up on a whiteboard. Her parents are Phorcys and Ceto, ancient sea deities. And when I say sea deities, don't picture friendly mermaids singing songs about friendship. Picture nightmares. Picture deep ocean at 3 o'clock in the morning. Picture hearing something move underneath your boat. That's the family business. Medusa had two sisters, Stethno and Uriel. Collectively, they were known as the Gorgons. Now, if you're wondering which sister was the favorite, not Medusa. Definitely not Medusa. We'll get to that. According to some of the oldest myths, all three sisters were born monsters. They had claws, golden wings, bronze hands, terrifying faces, and enough nightmare fuel to keep ancient Greek artists employed for centuries. But then comes along another version, and suddenly everything changes. In this version, Medusa wasn't born a monster. She's beautiful, and not the regular mythology beautiful, not people occasionally compliment her beautiful. We're talking about launch 1,000 ships beautiful, cause a poet to write 17 scrolls beautiful, start a war beautiful, which in Greek mythology is less of a blessing and more of a weather warning. Whenever somebody is described as extraordinarily beautiful in Greek mythology, you should immediately assume their life expectancy just dropped. It's like seeing ominous clouds, except the storm cloud is a god, and the weather forecast says 70% chance of divine interference. Medusa, she becomes a priestess to Athena, the goddess of wisdom, the goddess of strategy, the patron of heroes. Athena, who had absolutely zero patience for nonsense. Medusa devoted herself to the goddess. She lived in Athena's temple, served Athena faithfully. For a time, everything seemed peaceful. And then Poseidon notices Medusa. And now, if you're new to Greek mythology, here's a helpful rule. Whenever the story begins with, and then Poseidon notices, cancel your afternoon. Nothing good follows. Poseidon is one of the most powerful gods in existence. He controls the seas, the storms, earthquakes, horses, and apparently the ability to create problems wherever he goes. Seriously. The man enters myths the way a tornado enters trailer parks. The myths differ on exactly what happens next. Some ancient writers imply a romance, while others describe something far darker. But in every version, it ends up in the same place. Poseidon and Medusa meet inside of Athena's sacred temple, and Athena is furious. And now you might assume that she'd direct her anger toward Poseidon. After all, he's the one who could level mountains. He's the one with the giant magical trident. He's the one causing the problems. It's a reasonable assumption. It's an incorrect assumption, but it's still reasonable. No, Athena punishes Medusa instead because Greek mythology sometimes follows the rule that makes absolutely no sense. Think of it as divine bureaucracy. The complaint was filed, the wrong person got blamed, and the appeal was denied. And now everyone has to live with the consequences. Athena, she transforms Medusa. Her hair becomes living snakes, and her appearance becomes monstrous. And worst of all, anyone who looks directly at her turns to stone instantly. No warning, no second chances, no customer service hotline, just a statue. Imagine waking up one day and discovering that eye contact has become a lethal weapon. You can't meet people. You can't make friends. You can't accidentally look somebody in the eye at the grocery store. Not that ancient Greece had grocery stores, but if they did, Medusa would have been banned from all of them. And honestly, it's kind of fair. If you're turning people to stone, it's kind of bad for business. Eventually, Medusa leaves civilization behind. Because what's the alternative? Stay in town? Every conversation would become an emergency. She travels to the edge of the world, the place where Greek myths store all of their monsters. It's basically Greek mythology's junk drawer. Need a dragon? It's there. Needs giant snakes? They're probably there. Needs something with 12 heads and unresolved daddy issues? It's also there. And Medusa lives there alone with her sisters, year after year, maybe for centuries. Think about that. Everyone fears her. Everyone avoids her. Everyone tells stories about her, yet almost nobody knows her. And it's actually kind of sad because at some point, Medusa stops being a person in the public imagination and becomes a warning, a rumor, a monster. The thing parents tell their children when they don't listen. Clean your room. No, fine. I'll tell Medusa where you live. And now here's where things get interesting, because heroes start hearing about Medusa. And heroes have a particular condition. It's AGHS, Ancient Greek Hero Syndrome. The symptoms include overconfidence, poor risk assessment, the tendency to fight creatures stronger than themselves, the inability to hear the phrase impossible challenge without immediately saying, challenge accepted, hold my wine. So over the years, countless warriors seek Medusa. Some want glory, some want treasure, some simply want to prove that they're the toughest person in Greece. Those people usually become lawn ornaments. Imagine being Medusa. Every few months, another guy arrives. Sword drawn, making dramatic speeches, declaring himself the greatest warrior alive, and then he's speechless. Not because he's scared, but because he now has as much bravado as a bird bath. Problem solved. Honestly, Medusa probably has less trouble fighting heroes than she does having to listen to them. So what was Medusa? A monster? A victim? A villain? A tragedy? The Greeks never fully agreed, and maybe that's the point, because the best myths aren't simple. The best myths leave questions behind. Medusa is terrifying, but she's also sympathetic. Dangerous, but also isolated. Feared, but also perhaps misunderstood. And now we finally have a full picture. Because next time, a young hero named Perseus is going to enter the story. A king is going to issue a challenge. Gods are going to start meddling. Again, seriously, they need hobbies. And Perseus will set out on a quest that will eventually lead him to Medusa's lair. But when that moment comes, you'll know something many versions of the story leave out. You'll know who Medusa was before she became a monster. And sometimes that makes all the difference. Until next time, avoid making deals with gods, avoid challenging monsters, and if somebody says there's a creature that turns people to stone just by looking at them, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes.